Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ms. Raga Barone's Art Room. Okay, this is a reshoot of creating the 1-inch grid. So if you still have the old link I gave you, it'll be replaced on Canvas soon here. Please delete that link. This is the new one and the one you should be using. My students got back to me, you guys are awesome, and said, hey, we couldn't see like the edge of the table where you were using the T-square, right? Okay, we couldn't see the marks, and I guess I was getting a weird shadow from my light ring. So, trying something a little bit different. I know I've got a bit of my feet and my pants showing here, but I was hoping to do a different setup so that you could actually see the paper and the edge of the T-square gliding along so that it made more sense with what I was talking about. So, thank you for helping me to improve. Hey, we never stop learning, ladies and gents. We're always constantly getting better. So, to get started, setting up your grid for your art extra credit, your art bonus, your art above and beyond, however you like to think about it. Remember, it is an additional project, not an instead of project, right? You can't swap it out for any other points or anything like that. But we are starting with that 1-inch grid for whether you're doing the photo enlargement or the pattern, the hidden drawing in the pattern. And that'll be in the following video on your Canvas calendar. All right, so here we go. Alrighty, you're gonna need yourself a T-square. T-square. Make sure you grab one from me, as well as a ruler, and the 12 by 18 paper. All right. So I've got myself, I think mechanical pencil works really well for drawing these grids out because you get a nice, tight, tidy line. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your ruler, and you're going to put a mark at the inch from edge to edge. So I'm going to slide on down just for a second. And get myself lined up here. I'm making sure my ruler's lined up right to the edge of my paper. Okay. Check to make sure that your ruler is either the type of ruler where the marks start at the end or if they start a little bit in. Okay. And I'm going to start marking at each inch. And I'm making little, teeny, tiny dots. Not dashes, little teeny tiny dots at the mark. I want the most accurate measurement. A dash doesn't really give me an accurate measurement, right? If I do a dash along the top of the ruler, it could be 3/4 of an inch, half inch, inch. In fact, here, let me show you exactly what I mean by that. Let me zoom in here a bit. See that little tiny dot I just made above the 12 there? That's what I'm talking about. Here we go, another above the 13, 14, little tiny dots, right? If I do a dash along the top of the ruler, I could be making a mark at a half inch, 3/4, an inch, I don't know. Little tiny dot is going to give you the best measurement. All right, 16 little marks, which means I will have, or 16 little marks, 17 little marks. Whoop, slide on down, there it is. Which means I will have, as I zoom out, okay, 18 columns, 17 lines, 18 columns. And what I'm going to do now is use my T-square. Now, the head of my T-square actually has kind of two, well, the T-square itself has two parts, right? It's got the blade part of it where we do the drawing and the head. Now on the head, can everybody see that groove there? Okay, I'm going to highlight it with some white colored pencil. This groove is actually really important, okay? Because the bottom of the groove, this part here, is going to run along the edge of the table. The paper is going to line up to the top part of the groove, and that's going to get you the most accurate measurement. So what does this look like? Well, I take my T-square, I line it up along the edge of the table. Here's that groove again. Really color it in with some white colored pencil. There you go, see the groove? Okay, now if I were to line my paper up on the edge of the table, I could be crooked, right? I could be ever so slightly to the side, and I could get an inaccurate measurement and a crooked line, and I don't want that for my grid. But if I line it up right to the top edge of that groove, the T-square can still slide smooth along the table from measurement to measurement, but my paper stays lined up at the top of the T-square so I get perfectly straight lines. And that makes for really accurate measurements. All right, so I'm going to line up to my first dot there. I'm going to grab my pencil, hold the paper, hold the T-square, draw a line. Very nice. I'm going to make sure the paper stays lined up to the top of the groove, slide the T-square on down, and draw another line. And I'm going to do this at each mark for the entire length of the paper. Let me zoom in a bit so you can see exactly what I'm doing. See, I'm sliding down. I'm lining up to the mark. And I'm just constantly checking to make sure the paper and the T-square are well lined up and not moving around at all, holding them with my hands. There we go. Hopefully that shows things a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to keep going all the way down. Let me slide my paper down here. Make sure I'm still lined up to the top of the groove. There we go. And I'm going to keep going with my lines all the way down. Nice, even 1-inch columns. We'll have 18 of them. Right, and every so often check to make sure that the paper's lined up. I really find, ladies and gentlemen, stand to do this drawing work. Please stand. It is so much easier. When you're sitting down, you're kind of at an awkward angle. Sometimes it can be tough to see your measurements. It really can be tricky, okay? So I recommend stand up so that you can get your most even drawing work. There we go. Whew. Beautifully drawn 1-inch columns all the way across. Okay, rotate your paper. Grab that ruler again. Line up edge to edge. And once again, you're going to make marks at the 1 inch all the way across your paper again, but this time in the other direction. Right, so these interlocking columns will create the 1-inch by 1-inch grid. Again, I'm making little teeny tiny dots. All right, let me zoom in on that again so you can see. See, little teeny tiny dots above the mark. No dashes. Dashes don't give me as good an information. Ooh, sorry, trying to zoom back out, folks. Can be a little tricky sometimes. There we go. Okay, so 11 marks. I'm gonna line that T-square up again. Again, the bottom of the groove runs along the table. Paper lines up to the top of that groove. If you have any questions as you go to set this up in class, ladies and gents, make sure you call me over so I can help you out. Sometimes you just need an extra little hint or an extra little hand to get yourself going. Once again, I'm going to line up to each mark. I'm checking to make sure the paper is still even with the top of that groove on the head of my T-square. And I know for some of you who have done some work with T-squares or drafting tools in tech, this may be like old hat. You know, you've already done this. It was a little off on that one. Okay. Now, could you, ladies and gents, take your ruler and just go and make an extra mark and then line the ruler up between two dots and draw? Absolutely you could. But I think the T-square actually makes for a much tighter grid, much neater, much more accurate, and it goes quite a bit faster. And there it is, ladies and gents, my 1-inch by 1-inch grid on my 12 by 18 paper. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, your name's on the back with your class period, right? So, 1A, 5A, 1B, 5B, right? 2AB, okay, whatever you happen to be, okay? To be, ding, but I'm ching. Little joke there. And that you're all set with a grid. Now you can take this 1-inch by 1-inch grid and move on to whether you want to do an enlarged photograph or you want to do the drawing hidden in pattern. So please check out my next video to decide which type of bonus art drawing you would like to do. All right, thanks for watching, ladies and gents. Take care. Bye-bye.